I was hoping to make this a review of this car, the Skoda Superb, because this is the first chance I've had to drive one for any decent stretch of time on Irish roads. Unfortunately, this being a Skoda, Skoda being part of the Volkswagen group, and this car having a diesel engine, we have to, as we have to sometimes talk about a boy called Kevin, to talk about something else, which is Dieselgate, which is the Volkswagen scandal. And you know what? It's starting to annoy me. Obviously, I'm annoyed as a journalist, as a consumer, that Volkswagen was telling porcupines about its emissions tests, that Volkswagen decided to load up illegal software into its cars as a way of getting around these tests. But I'm also annoyed at the Joe McCarthy-style witch hunt that VW now faces, because let's face it, they didn't kill anyone. They didn't do anything terribly wrong. They twisted and bent a few rules in a system where the rules are effectively meaningless anyway, because I think it's really worth pointing out that certainly on the European fuel economy and emissions tests, you're allowed to cheat. You are explicitly told you can cheat. You are allowed to take out the spare wheel to save weight, to fit non-standard low rolling resistance tyres and overinflate those tyres to the point of bursting. You're allowed to disconnect the alternator. You're allowed to externally charge the battery. You're allowed to tape up the seams in the bodywork for better aerodynamics. You're allowed to take off the passenger side wing mirror, again for better aerodynamics and a little bit of weight saving. You're allowed to do so many things. But the cars being tested for the official fuel economy test are undrivable in the real world. They are designed to last for the few minutes of the test, and that's it. So the test is in no way realistic to begin with. So VW's crime of putting in software that optimizes the car for the test, to me, is no different from what every car company is doing with a rubber stamp saying they can. Now that brings us back to this Skoda, because there are doubtless going to be people out there, and in fact I've spoken to a few people out there, who are going to say, oh well, I'd never buy a car from Volkswagen Group again. They lied. Yeah, they did. And every other car maker at some stage in its history has told a pretty colossal lie. Has told a lie about a recall, about some safety item, about a bottom line, about something. This is the corporate world. Nobody tells the truth all the time. And if you discount this car because you're annoyed at VW, you are really missing out. You are doing yourself a disservice. This is an excellent car. This is an absolutely brilliant car. This Skoda Superb is a car that for a little under 30,000 euro, you can say, well, I could buy a Mercedes E-Class, or I could save myself 10 grand and get this instead. Because that's how good it is. It's a little bit noisy, could do with slightly better refinement, I'll give it that, but it's big, so much space in the back seats, in the boot, comfy seats here in the front. Apple CarPlay on the stereo works brilliantly, by the way. A little bit clunky, but really, really good, generally speaking. Loads of equipment. And a diesel, yes, diesel engine, which, by the way, has passed all its tests, which doesn't run any dodgy software that we're yet aware of, which will do 53 miles to the gallon all day long. I've done just over 1,500 kilometers in this car in the space of a week, and I'm not tired of it, I'm not bored with it, I don't desperately want to give it back and get into something new. This is an excellent car, and that is the real tragedy of the Volkswagen scandal. It's that brilliant cars and the work of brilliant engineers and designers will be overlooked or pilloried because of something somebody else did 10, 15 years ago.